the top 5 signings. And basically, this is Aspley Mazda's Service of the Week, guys. And Lukey, the car man, the best in the biz. If you need a car, you speak to him. Give him a message on Instagram, LDC_01. Absolute legend. And right now, a huge sale just for Bloke community members. That's right. It's the X sale. X rentals for an experience you will not forget. Exclusive to Bloke listeners. An extraordinary opportunity to save. So buy any CX3 or CX5 from Aspley Mazda X rental sale, and one lucky person will be gifted a truly unique experience for a day at the footy in a corporate suite with ex-NRL legends Alex Glenn, Dral Yayi, and I'll also be there. Might even do a live show hosted by Luke Camilleri, the car man. These are CX3 and CX5s. Look new, feel new, and drive like new, but aren't priced like new. All models are under 20,000 Ks and ready to roll right now. So the 2024 CX5 G20 Max is 32,844 drive away, and the 2024 CX3 Pure is 27,385 drive away. So if you're in the market for a car, especially an SUV, speak to Lukey, because there's only a certain amount of these that they're going to sell, and once they're sold, there's no more people that are going to be able to have the opportunity to be gifted this to go to a suite with me, Lexi, and Dural as well. Huge, never done before, at least to my understanding. So make sure if you're in the car, give for a car, give Lukey a message, LDC_01. The top 5 signings, best service by their recruitment officers. So we're going to go through the recruits, not all of them, obviously, but we're going to go through who we think are the top 5 signings. It'll be a mixture of two things, guys. We'll talk about who is like the best top 5 signings for next year initially. Then we'll talk more broadly of like how important this signing is for the club long term. Because I think a lot of people have DCE for next year as a top 5 signing or whatever. However, he's definitely not a top 5 signing if you're talking about the whole thing. What does it mean for the club going forward? So, roommate, let's talk. We'll go around 5. We'll go around 5 and we'll just stay around the 5 mark of your 5th top 5 signing next year, mate.
One that probably stands out for me that I really like is Leo Thompson going to Canterbury. I think that when I looked at clubs and the signings they made, I looked at what clubs needed and how they went and sorted that. And I think Leo Thompson is probably the best example of that. You got clubs like, the Cowboys and the Roosters that they lost because they went and got them. But like Canterbury for the last 2 years have needed a middle. They've needed an alpha. And I think they've gone out and got just about the perfect guy for it. I think that with Leo Thompson, I think we're in this age, because of your Payne Haas's, your Terrell Mays, that stats are so fucking important to so many people. Leo Thompson, to me, reminds me of Moses Leota in that he's an alpha. He's a guy that leads a pack. He might not get the stats and the super coach points and that stuff that impresses people.
Tone setter.
He's a tone setter. Yep. And I think a lot of people underappreciate that nowadays. And personally, if Moses Leota was playing for another club and he hadn't won 4 comps, I don't think there'd be that many people out there that would appreciate how good he is.
Yep.
If he didn't have the trophies next to his name, because you would see people on socials put his stats next to Payne Haas, Terrell May, all these guys, and it wouldn't add up.
Yeah.
Leo Thompson is that guy for me.
Can be that guy? Not that guy
sure.
yet. You're confident?
I think at Canterbury he is going to be that guy.
Okay.
I'm confident he will be. I think he's going to be a very important signing in the club's history as far as this era and what they're building for.
Yep. Okay. 5th best signing.
Yeah, so I'll sort of tie 2 into this because I also had Leo Thompson at number 5, funnily enough. And I think Leo Thompson is a good signing for the Bulldogs, and I think he's exactly what they need. Like, we've sat here for a couple of years now and seen their building, what they've done, and we've sort of said they've lacked probably, Roo summed it up well, but this sort of killer instinct in the middle, or a real mongrel in the middle.
Is their forward pack respected,
Yeah.
When Fish and Leota run out together, or let's say Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan or whatever, do they fear the Bulldogs pack? I don't think they do
probably
yet.
Not.
Yeah, but sorry, respect is the wrong word. I apologise for that. Fear.
Yeah. Because they'll go, we're playing a very well-drilled forward pack, an ultra-fit and ultra-mobile forward pack, and they will grind us down and they won't give us an inch. Are they feared? Probably not. So I think Leo Thompson is exactly what the Dogs need. I'm not as high on him as either of you two have been since signing was announced a fair while
I'm like
ago
in
now.
between you and I think Roo's the highest.
Yep.
I'm a little bit below that, and I think you're just a bit...
He ticks the box. Put it this way, he could have signed at a lot of other clubs, and I'm like, yeah, it's a solid signing, but he's just a perfect fit for what the Bulldogs need right now. So, I spoke about him for longer than I thought, so that can be my number 5.
Yeah, well, I will say just quickly on that, the reason why I think I might be a little bit higher on you is I trust the Bulldogs and Serraldo system.
I'll double down on that.
Yeah,
if he'd gone somewhere else, I wouldn't be as high, but watching what Serraldo's got over guys over the last few years and how he has consistently not had a forward pack that should compete with the good teams, and he does. I just think Leo Thompson will go to another level. With all due respect to Newcastle, I don't think Leo Thompson's enjoyed his footy for the first.
I mean, who has? Who has in Newcastle recently with everything going on? I will say as well as like, and I say this respectfully to Max King, Serraldo's system got Max King an Origin debut. And I, his debut, I thought he was quite good. The next game, not as good. And so I just wonder, like, if that's what the system can get out of Max King, respectfully, what's, Leo Thompson potentially, what could happen there?
And I look at Max King, I love him as a number 2 front row forward.
Yeah.
He's a perfect 2. He's not a 1. He's not an alpha guy.
But him, Max and Leo, all of a sudden I look at that forward pack and I go, that 1-2 punch is pretty good.
Handy.
Yeah. What do you reckon, mate? What's your 5? Just quickly on Leo.
Yeah.
Is Leo your 5?
Leo's a great. I had him highlighted in amongst. I'd probably have him a little bit higher up the order, to be honest, than my 5. But great signing, and to Rue's point there, I think big alpha dog.
Yep.
Just adds a bit of variety and probably a missing piece that they haven't had there at the Dogs.
Who's your 5
so far? Mine's a number 05 for mine because it's a West Tigers player. I've gone with Kai Pearce-Paul.
Okay.
Coming in for the Tigers. Now, obviously, there's been some big raps. Probably another one of these guys who hasn't enjoyed the first little bit of his NRL career or probably shown as much as he can do. He's been at the Knights and their pack has struggled a little bit. He was used in a few ways that I don't think suited his style of footy there. We've heard a lot about his killer offload and all this sort of stuff that kind of went to the back seat a little bit at the Knights. But I think playing under a guy like Benji, who likes to throw the ball around, play some exciting footy, and, he's kind of likes to use his forward pack a little bit like the 05 Tigers, where they throw it around, a lot of offloading, a little bit more mobile and exciting and stuff. So I think he's going to fit in really well there. The Tigers have had Samuel Afanu, absolute walk-up start, really good on the left side. Probably the gap is on the right edge, I think. There's been a few kind of players we've tried there and have done a bit of a role for us. We've had Seyfarth last year, Sione Fine, who I actually probably prefers a bit of a middle than a back rower. But I reckon if you've got Sam Finu and Kai Pearce-Paul as your 2 starting edge back rowers, that's a pretty good starting combination.
I think as well with Kai Pearce-Paul, we've been waiting for his talent to show. Because the thing with Kai Pearce-Paul as well is he's actually been quite a good conservative edge back rower at the Knights. You look at him play, good solid defender, doesn't miss many tackles, bit of a good motor. Granted, who did play well at the Knights. And so if there is one club, literally one club that would suit what you hope he's going to play like, it's a Benji Marshall-led Tigers because they're going to allow him to kind of offload. Now, granted, will he lean too far into it, make errors? We'll still yet to see. But if they give him a bit of free roam of okay, you can throw the ball around a bit, mate, get that offload free, you're allowed an error or 2 here or there, it could be a real game changer on that edge to just create a bit of spark on that edge.
He's one of the most fascinating watches this season, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because there's a world where he explodes and becomes one of the better back rowers in the competition. He's so incredibly agile. He's got all the skills. He's got a great offload on him. We didn't see a lot. We saw moments of it at the Knights. I think there was a game where he busted through. It might have been against the Roosters, straight through the middle of the field, put on a bit of footwork, threw an offload, and it was like, wow, that's the best of what Kai Pearce-Paul has to offer. We didn't see as much of it as I thought at the Knights, and I put a lot of that down to probably some overly conservative coaching from Adam O'Brien, with more of that licence, which he'll definitely get under Benji Marshall. He could explode, but I probably didn't see as much of it as I thought I would at the Knights. That being said, he's very early on in his NRL career, so I can't wait to see what he has this year.
I think it's interesting with KPP as well, and I'm probably guilty of probably a lot of that falls on my head that I talked up how much the offload and all that sort of stuff. I did, but you know what I do love about the last 2? Yeah, he scored once or twice. It's cost me a fortune. I think one thing I have loved about the last 2 years is I expected KPP to come over here and be the offload guy. He's shown in the last 2 years that he can roll his sleeves up and just play tough, which I love. There was games there where he was making 40 tackles, 10 hit-ups, I think it's shown that it's actually shown me that he's got more to his game than what I thought he would. Because I know what he's capable of. I know that he's got a good offload. I know that he'll be able to do that stuff. But now I've seen that he can just roll his sleeves up for 2 seasons straight in the NRL on a rival. I think that's the other thing as well. Give me the list of guys that come over from England and handle it immediately. It's not really that long, realistically.
Yeah.
In a bad situation as too. He's done very well. So, yeah, I think Benji will get the best out of him. I'm really excited about KBP.
Him and Dream Buller, everything goes well, everything goes to plan, could just, with his offloading ability, Buller's speed and athleticism, there's potential to be something special there.
So you're expecting him to be on the right?
Well, I think so, because Sam Finu's played on the left. Now, I know he's played on the left of the Knights, but it feels like there's a bit of a good thing going there on the left-hand side. Who knows how they'll shape up, but it feels like probably the gap in the space that we've had a bit of an issue with having a consistent person there is on the right side.
Just, I'd love to see KPP on the edge with Taylor May.
Well, he spent time
That's
on the
left.
right at the Knights as well.
Yeah.
I think that was the back end of last year.
He's a right-hand carry, so he should be playing on the right, in my opinion.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, so Matty, fifth best signing.
Just for KBP was actually my fourth, only because I don't think any team needs a position more than the Tigers need a back row. They were crying out for a back row. They have no depth there whatsoever. So he was actually my fourth. My fifth was Jamal Fogarty, especially because they lost Cherry Evans. They swooped him up after, which at the time was great. I know Fogarty didn't have the most fantastic end of the season, but he's exactly what Manly need after losing someone like Cherry Evans. So, yeah, Fogarty was my five. Okay,
So could we all lock in as a collective, is Leo Thompson our fifth? Would that represent us all?
Yeah, I'm excited him coming in probably next anyway for me. So
Okay,
I'd
so
be with him.
the Bloke Monday podcast, fifth best signing, Leo Thompson. Four-Wheel Drive Supercentre is an Australian-owned family business that started to make off-road and camping affordable for everyone. How do they do this? With wholesale prices. Their website will be in the show notes, but go to Four-Wheel Drive Supercentre, so 4WD, super spelt SUPA, centre.com.au. You will see so many different products, including 12-volt camping setups, which are batteries and the gear associated with them, and fridges/freezers, which are the same product. They just do both, depending on the temperatures you set them to. There are so many more products, including lithium batteries, the vehicle drawers, swags, camping gear, plus more. Not only that, they have constant sales and bundle deals for many of their products. It's a complete disruption of the off-road and camping industry, bringing overpriced products down, and the winner here is you. Get behind this Australian-owned family business. They do all their own R&D and testing in Queensland, so they're of the culture. They get it, guys. They're actually of the culture. To ensure the products meet the specs we expect and fit the Aussie market. The link is in the show notes if you need anything camping or outdoors related. Four-Wheel Drive Supercentre is for you, because seriously, these are unbelievable prices. Alrighty, Roo. Fourth best signing, mate.
Number 4 for me, I don't know where I fit this guy, and this is the guy I'm probably least confident out of my 5, but I think his impact could be enormous. And that's interesting because he's replacing Reece Robson. I think Reece Robson's a better footballer than Reid Mahoney, but I just look at the Cowboys and the same shit we've been talking about for 3 years. I just wonder if Reid could be the guy that goes up there and gives them a new attitude. You saw what he did at Canterbury. He came from Parramatta. I feel so sorry for him how that played out at Canterbury, and if they win a comp in the next few years, they should send a gift basket to North Queensland to thank Reid for how he turned the place around and gave it a new attitude. And I wonder if he can be the guy to go up to North Queensland and change their attitude. Because if defensively the mindset shifts, good fucking luck catching the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yep.
Their attacking upside is just unbelievable. We sort of hoped that John Bateman was going to be that guy. I was never quite convinced on that. Reid, I feel more confident that maybe he could be that guy. And I would love to see the Cowboys kick off in Vegas and we see a new look Cowboys led by Reid just being a fucking pest.
Yeah, okay.
And there's a new attitude in North Queensland.
Because that's like, if they needed... The ironic thing is, like, Reece Robson is one of the best defensive, if not the best defensive nines in the competition. I wonder if it's just the veteran leadership that Reid Mahoney can offer. Not to suggest that Reece Robson can't lead or anything like that, but he, I guess, wasn't necessarily, I'd assume, not in their captain, their leadership group. But Reid Mahoney does have a kind of, a veteran status in the game to a degree, even though Reece Robson has achieved more in regards to
the energy he brings for me. And I think realistically, when you look up at that North Queensland side, like I think, we talk about it on the show all the time, like Drinkwater in defence. We've had concerns for years. Doesn't seem to worry anyone in North Queensland. Nothing seems to change there. I think that Reece, as I said, he's a better player than Reid. I love Reece Robson, but I think he almost became sort of part of the furniture up there. I think Reid coming in with a bee in his bonnet, something to prove.
And also the Cowboys having a bee in their bonnet of, like, they've moved a bunch of people on.
Yep.
It's Peyton's last shot at the, if he doesn't start well, he'll probably get moved on. Who's your number 4, mate? Oh, just quickly on...
So on Mahoney, I'm a little torn because I think he's an excellent signing. But, you have to sort of look at who he's replaced. And what have we said in the past about, for a number of years now, the Cowboys, it's just been their defence can go missing at times. And Reece Robson, as you said, Kempy, is one of the better defensive number 9s in the competition. Reid Mahoney, look, he's near the top of the missed tackles list every year. And as we say, not every missed tackle is the same. And a lot of missed tackles that Reid Mahoney has is shooting off the line to put pressure on and bouncing off a player. And he's actually doing a really good job in that. That being said, he's going into a side with defensive issues throughout the middle of the field and across the park.
And I wouldn't say it's not necessarily a top tier forward pack.
No, so that's where I'm just like, if he is bouncing off tackles and there's openings popping up in an already weak middle defensive outfit in the competition, that's my concern there. So don't get me wrong, when you're replacing, I think Reid Mahoney is one of the better number 9s in the comp, who I think even at times is underrated, but when I'm looking at him and what he's going to bring to the Cowboys and the bloke he's replacing, we'll see. My number 4 is a bloke. Criteria is everything, right? It's Dylan Brown, and he could be number 1 on this list. He could be number 5, or he could be not in. It just depends what criteria you want to look at in terms of these rankings.
Yeah. And also, he could bring the club to his knees with a 10-year deal or an 8-year deal with options or whatever, or he could literally have changed the whole thing.
We're looking at it as one of the biggest off-season signings. Obviously, been in the works for a while now, but he's a top probably 3, 5'8" in the competition. On his day when he's in form, a top 1 or 2 sort of thing. So
should have won the Golden Boot.
Yeah. So in terms of quality players moving teams, he's probably number 1 just about in the off-season. But with that comes a big price tag. And he has to be at his best and some more to justify that price tag. That's where really he could be anywhere on this list. But, he's just the one that he goes in, and you've summed up very easily there, Kempy. He could bring them to their knees, or he could, I don't think he's going to deliver them a premiership anytime soon, but he could be exactly what they need. And in all these years of chopping and changing halves and having no stability, whether it's at 6 or 7, he's going to be there for a long time. He's a bloody good footballer. He's very consistent. So, Dylan Brown.
I guess a positive about Brown, and I know that last year wasn't great for him with everything going on or whatever, let's say worst case scenario, he's not living up to his price tag. At least you got a good defender. I know that's grasping at straws, but
I don't think it is. People don't look at defence anywhere near enough. And the fact that, as you said, worst case, if the attack isn't clicking, you've got, what would you say, the best defensive 5'8" in the competition?
Yeah, and I know last year, it wasn't great last year, I get that, but, most of his career he's been a top-tier defensive 6. So there's that. There is that.
Also, Parramatta last year, there are so many different combinations as they were chopping and changing with moving players on and new faces coming in, and they're rebuilding. That's hard for a half.
Oh, super, super hard. Who got it for, mate?
I wanted to throw a bit of a left field one out there, and I could be completely wrong. They might go a different way, and it might not pan out like this, but it's for the Dogs. Shaun O'Sullivan has been signed to come and be a 7 at the club. Probably, you'd think, a reserve grader. However, do they bite the bullet at the start of the season and go, move Burton to the centres, put Galvin at 6? And then go the position we need to fill is the halfback position. And O'Sullivan is like an organiser. He can get a team around at park. He's a good defender, and then help kind of bring Mitch Woods through. Or will they, do they go the other way and just bring Mitch Woods through right away? But if they, because that was the problem last year. There was a lot of chopping and changing and not a lot of clarity in who's playing where. Galvin playing at 7, which I think we all kind of agree he's not. It could, just having a bit of stability in that number 7 jersey be the kind of the thing that kind of gets the Dogs to the next level. It's there's a few variables there, but I feel like there's an opportunity that they could use in to plug a gap and just stop all the constant shifting and whatever, especially in the first half of the year till they bring Woods through. But I just wonder whether a player like that, in that position, in that role, that they need kind of a bit of stability, whether they could add a bit of value next year.
It's not a bad shout in the sense of impact to balance of a squad. Let's assume Woods is not good to go. He's too young, he needs an extra year. And let's assume we get the best of O'Sullivan.
Yep.
It could solve a pretty big headache for him. I guess the only worry I have is I feel like O'Sullivan has had quite a lot of opportunities to be that guy at a few different clubs, and it just hasn't seemed to work for him. Now, maybe it's the Bulldogs system that brings that out in him, because we've just talked about how good it is for Leo Thompson. If you had said that 2 or 3 years ago, after was it the Penrith Panthers that he played really well at, I probably would have agreed. Unfortunately, I just think he's had too many opportunities and he hasn't nailed it for that to happen.
Yep.
I have a
My
list that we'll get to a little bit later of guys that I think will be good signings for the future.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, Shaun O'Sullivan's one of them. You might know more about this, but I believe part of signing Shaun O'Sullivan is that he will eventually lead their halves academy up there. And
Okay.
Shaun O'Sullivan, I've heard Matty Johns talk about in his life growing up with Andrew that he always knew the game inside out, but his body couldn't quite keep up with his head.
Yep.
I think Shaun O'Sullivan is the number one example of that in our game right now. I think he'll make a really good coach one day, Shaun
Okay.
O'Sullivan.
Okay.
When you hear him talk and the way that he understands the game and the amount of, he never impresses at clubs, always gets a contract wherever he goes.
And is his old man one of the best
Peter
recruiters?
O'Sullivan is one of the best rugby league minds we've seen.
And he's like basically the best recruiter, or at least one of them
King
in the
recruitment
game.
manager.
Which
Yeah.
is, I guess,
So-
you've got history of knowing the game deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, sort of to Rue's point, that a big part of him coming in was obviously depth in the halves, but yeah, to sort of help out with someone like Mitch Woods and, you know, evolve
Okay.
into a coach on the staff long term. And for that to be, you know, if true.
Geez, that's some deep thinking. That's
yeah,
I mean,
well, it's just like.
This is what they do there,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
Yes,
and that they see the
That's a
potential
good shout.
in the future, and it's like, you know, they would have signed him on pennies pretty well, and
we need you basically on Mitch Wood's hip every day at training, guiding
awesome.
him.
And then
a-
you know,
that's a
they've
bloody
got
good shout.
They've got a more than serviceable backup half if needed. So I don't
Okay.
suspect you'll spend probably too much time in the top grade this year, barring injuries. And like I see your point, Hammy, in terms of squad balance. You bring in an out-and-out number 7 and a thinker and a game manager. I get that, but you know, the signing of him and looking towards the future with the coaching and helping out Woods, it shows exactly that. They're building towards a premiership in a couple of years' time. You know, all going to plan, maybe this year, maybe the year after. That being said, I think bringing him in when you've got Mitch Woods there, when you've got Lockie Galvin there, etc., you're sort of taking a step back and you're probably just delaying the inevitable. So, yeah, I think, as Rue said, he's on a list of one of the better signings, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, but that's a great take. I didn't even think of that, but
He's almost closer to an assistant coach than a player
yeah.
to me.
And
He's
like,
always-
you know, there's always going to be a bit of a gap between the coaching staff and the playing group. It's all the best teams have strong senior players that basically guide the team around, and then they talk to the coaches or whatever.
they bridge the gap.
Yeah, so what better way than go, mate, I want your job, you have been brought to this club. Yeah, okay, we want you to play good footy. That's, yeah, whatever. But your job is literally, if Mitch Wood comes and kills it this year, you've done your job, pretty much. So that's, yeah, really interesting. I like that. Matty, who's your 4?
My 4 was KPP, as mentioned, as for the previous points. So
Could we, is everyone going to go, could we lock in KPP as 4 for the Bloke top 5? It's going to make it tough squeezing other people out.
We can always boot someone later on.
Okay, we'll come back and we'll revisit
Yeah.
it. But for now,
I'd be happy throwing him in there.
Yeah.
okay, for now he's at 4.
Yep.
But it's going to be a tough. Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay, so KPP is locked in at 4. Okay, number 3. I'll start. I'll give my opinion of 3 for me.
Yep.
It's DCE for the short term. He sits at 3, only because it's DCE still. You know, he's still got a history of being, when you think he's not doing well, he goes to Origin and does something great. And if they are to win a premiership, it's probably DCE playing some good footy. And so I feel like, although if you don't have him in the top 5, I get it. I totally get it. But if the Roosters win a premiership, it'll be him playing good footy, in my opinion. So I've got him at 3, but I'm not, he can be in or out of my... Because it could literally win them a premiership, or it could be a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the thing with DCE. I didn't have him in my 5 only because it's a short-term play. I have my concerns about how it's going to impact Sam Walker, which means I also have my concerns about Sam Walker long-term.
So this is my 26. You know,
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
When I'm talking just pure signings, he's not in my top 5.
Yeah, and I think the general chatter around DCE is outrageous by people. Like, if your take is that you're worried about how it's all going to gel, sure, but people are just pretending like DCE is not a good footballer anymore. Like, fuck it, that pack is so good. You could do worse than having me at halfback in that side. To have the experience of DCE, it's never going to be a bad thing. Like, I'm hyper confident they play finals footy. I think the comparisons to Cooper Cronk are
Insane.
the most overs of all time.
Yeah, but would you be able to gel with Sammy Walker in the halves? That's the question, mate.
Would Walker be able to gel with
Yeah, Rue's the
Do
big
you
dog.
think you could get it right? Like, yeah, would Sammy Walker take a back seat to to play in the halves with you.
With a haircut like this. Sammy Walker's holding my pocket in. I understand having him in the top 5. You won't get too much pushback from me. If they do win a comp, you're right. DC is going to have his fingerprints all over it.
Because if he plays terribly, I don't see them getting close to a comp. Or not close is a strong word.
They've got Savala there.
Yeah. I don't think they win a comp with Savala Walker. This year.
Yeah, fair. I think that's as we've said about Savala for the last few years, the one great thing about, well, not one thing, but thing that does fit well with Walker is the long kicking game.
Yep.
That problem is solved.
And DCE, the only question for DCE is not can he play 6, because I think he plays more like a 6 than a conservative 7. I really do. It's can he not be the main man? Can he take a step back? And he'll probably be able to do it for the first few rounds, but let's say they get under the pump a little bit and he's in the flow state. Will he be switched on enough to go, oh, this is not my job. This is not my job to override Sammy. Whereas I feel like there's going to be a natural tendency for DCE to go, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, because he's so used to it. Now, but if he can go second fiddle, super good long kicking game, let Sam Walker do his thing, it could be magic. But that's the question. We don't, it could be, it couldn't be. I just think right now, Savala and Sam Walker, could they make a prelim? I think they could make a prelim. Could they make a GF? Yeah, maybe. But could they win a GF right now in their career? Probably not. Maybe a year or two longer after.
I think that's the other big question, though. Is that how the Roosters want to use him?
Yeah.
Like the other side of the coin is if you go and sign the most experienced half in the game, do you want him playing second fiddle?
Yeah. That's a tough one. Anyway, we'll move on from that. Who's your third?
Mate, my third one was another half, and I looked at teams that needed something and they've gone out and got them. I'm confident this guy will do well. I'm not sure if he's playing the right position to start the season, but Dan Atkinson, I think the Dragons needed a spark there.
Okay.
And there's,
Thoughts on the 7 then? That he's going to be the 7?
Don't like it. He's a 5'8". Mm-hmm. The halfback's a halfback.
Don't get it. I honestly
don't get it. It's giving me bad optics early, but I do love that Atkinson's walked in there and gone, no, it's mine too.
Yeah,
I'm going to take control of it.
Yep.
I do like that. But I just think they needed, like the Dragons are not a bad side, despite what they finished on the ladder. They were in a lot of contests this year. They competed more than I think people give them credit for. And I just think in the halves, they just needed some spark. Is he the absolute best guy they could have got? That's another argument to have. But I think the Dragons are much better with Atkinson in the halves to give them some spark. But I understand that one's a bit of a different take as far as his top 5 goes.
I just don't get the Is it smoke and mirrors? Like, are they doing it to trick everyone and be like, well, secretly Flanagan has a 6 on his back. When he gets on the field, he plays like a 7. I don't get it.
Which
just
make
make
what
Flano
it
the
looks
7.
like. I'll be like, yeah, this is what I expected.
But Flano at 7 and Atkinson at 6. That's okay, good. That's a good start. Solid Dragons halves pairing. But Atkinson at 7 and Flano at 6. It's I'm not as confident that that's a good solid pairing.
I know this isn't, this doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but just, you go to the Dragons website, Daniel Atkinson, position. What do you reckon it is?
5'8"?
5'8". Kyle Flanagan, position. Halfback.
Oh, man, it's so weird. It's so weird. And to people go, they're basically saying, listen, I'm telling you right now, we have been so brainwashed in this whole, 7 and 6, they're just different sides of the field. They are so different, bro. Can we please stop that nonsense that 6s can play 7 and 7 can play 6? Stop the nonsense.
I'm now 3 years into it. Kyle's listed as a halfback, and I've been told he's a hooker and a 5'8".
Yeah. What do you reckon? What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I mean, my 3, I sort of had them wedged together, but I had DCE and Robson, just rooster spine sort of thing, but sort of touching on DCE. And I think you're right. With the squad they've got there, this unbelievable spine, and it's a big if, he and Sam Walker can make it work. They can win a premiership this
year. Is he your 6 or a 7? He's my 6 every day of the week. If I see him in a 7 jersey, I
think, everything we've said on this podcast for a couple of years now has been that Sammy Walker needs the keys and he's at 7. So on that, I think DC has to take a back seat in certain areas. And when I say take a back seat, that is probably in the opposition 20 and attacking. That's where Sammy Walker's brilliance comes out, and I think that's where he needs to run the show. So, I've got DC in 6. I think that makes sense. At any other club in the NRL, he nearly comes in as a 7. He'll take a Panthers type setup. But yeah, I think if they get things right, well or not, it's easy to say DC is experienced and Trent Robinson says, mate, you're the foil to Sam Walker, but what is he, 35, 36? He's been the main man his entire career in the halves. If they've got this big shape set up to the right and DCE's on the short side and he sees a little 3-on-2, whatever it is, for him to bite his tongue and not try and override that, like, I don't know if he can do that. Like, it's what a hard thing to do. Not saying he'd have to every time, but for him to take a back seat, it'll be tough. That being said, I'm going to back Cherry Evans and his footy head in, knowing that he's coming up alongside Sam Walker to get it right.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen straight away.
Yeah.
The Roosters could potentially start slow because they are very clunky in attack, at least their attack. But I think by sort of around 10 to mid-season, as long as they're scraping wins together, which they will, that's when they'll start to click and work out this partnership. But yeah, so I've got DC there.
Any concerns about his defence at the Roosters?
Not really, no.
Because Savala was a pretty bloody good defender, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you're playing Manly, you know, your spot is DCE usually.
And look, mate, there's a world where he's checked out and he's like, oh, I'll get my extra last year or two of my career and another paycheck and then I'll go into media, whatever it might be. But it's Cherry Evans. I don't think he's that kind of character. I think in the sort of the back end of Manly at times it looked like that way, but there was so much else going on there. I think this new lease on life and a new club will do wonders for him. So, yeah, I think DC will be a huge signing for him. In terms of, let's say, glass half empty and he does go poorly and Savala did come in and Roosters title credentials and all that, Sam Walker, one of the better sevens in the comp, getting better by the day. Reece Robson, Blues number 9, James Tedesco, Dally M winner, like, they can still win a comp. Like, it's, but if DC fires, well, it's good luck stopping him.
Who's your 3, mate?
I've got DC as well in
Okay.
that spot. Now, I don't know, I like the vibe that Walker and Savala had worked out last year. I thought they complemented each other well, and it's, as we've kind of spoken about a few times, it's not easy to find someone that complements Sam Walker's game well because he's so unique and plays so differently. But I don't mind Timmy out there. Give him the keys in the red zone, and then Cherry Evans can kind of assist with a bit more kind of structure and that kind of stuff. Getting up towards the attacking end, but. I think, just given the fact that they've added him into the mix now, you look at that spine, the names in that spine, that's a premiership winning spine on paper, really, isn't it? Like, if you just work out who goes where. It'd be interesting to see who lines up with what number on their back. But, I just think given and you're right, it's not going to be for many years, but for this specific year coming up, 2026, I reckon Daly Cherry Evans have got it number 3.
Okay.
For the impact you'll have.
Who's it 3 for you, matey?
Yeah, I got DC as well. I know it can go either way, but yeah, I just got to back that it's going to work for him.
Okay, so I think it's pretty resounding. At 3, we have DCE as for Bloke's top signings for us. Pretty much the main focus is next year for this. Okay, at number 2. I'm gonna go in on this, and it's a big one, but I got Brown at number 2 for me. Dylan Brown at number 2. I know that the team around him isn't that great in regards to, not that it's not that great, but he needs a good forward pack, and we're still seeing whether Trey Mooney will do his thing. And Trey Mooney actually isn't that far off my top 5 for the Newcastle Knights. But I'm backing Brown to play good footy for the next couple of years and be able to probably attract some people to that club. I'm backing the Newcastle Knights as well to have good development around him, hopefully. There's all word about them sorting out their pathways. Brown is my number 2.
My number 2 is a little bit different. I think a lot of people will disagree, but I'm sort of just really backing in my gut feel here on how I think guys are going to go. And I think for context for me too, the way that I looked at this, if the Roosters didn't sign Robson and Connor Watson's the hooker, I'm okay with it. If they didn't sign DCE and Savala's the halfback, I'm okay with it. Like, they're better with those guys, don't get me wrong, but they weren't spots that I think they needed to fill per se. I think Jack Heatherington going down to Melbourne is going to be enormous.
Yeah,
I think that Nasa's walked out. They've lost Eli Katoa. It's 2 big forwards gone. Like, if you have a look at that side now, the forward pack, Sean Bloor will be on the left edge. You'll have Stefano in the front row, Josh King in 13. Outside of that, mate, they're not like, and Trent Lear at lock. Outside of that, there really isn't much in Melbourne. Jack Heatherington arrives there. He's had a heap of potential for a number of years. He's absolutely flying down there. He went and did their army camp. He won that.
Okay.
I just reckon he could be the little missing piece that, once again, similar to other guys we've spoken about, if Melbourne are to compete and, be in the premiership race again, I think Jack Hetherington's going to be front and centre.
He adds mongrel to the pack.
He adds mongrel, and everywhere he goes, he arrives and everyone goes, holy shit. He's agile, he's huge, he's alert. Like all these, he just hasn't been able to put it together.
Yep.
The Kings are putting it together.
Yep.
Melbourne. And I just think they've got two massive spaces in their forward pack that I think he's going to fill and do really well.
Okay. Timmy, 2 for you.
Huge call, Roo.
Huge call.
It's a huge call. I
Huge
did
call.
not see that coming.
Yeah.
I've gone with Sandon Smith.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So Sandon Smith's ahead of Brown for you for the Knights next year.
Well, Sandon Smith's on about a freaking quarter of the money that Dylan Brown's on.
Okay, so
when
you're
I'm
adding
looking
in
at
money.
this,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
like,
Okay.
I'm not saying Sandon Smith's going to be a better footballer than him, but when you do it for, what would Sandon sign for, 500-600 or something, like, half the price. I just think he's an outstanding footballer. And here's what I do think will happen. I'll preface this by saying maybe this is a longer-term one. We'll get to the Knights shortly, but I don't know where he's necessarily going to play, whether it'll be in the halves, as a 9, as a bench utility. I think for both Sandon Smith and Dylan Brown, I don't have high hopes for the Knights this year. They're coming off a wooden spoon. They've lost a lot of players. They're light on in the pack. It's going to be frigging hard for your halves to do anything off the back of how I think their pack is going to go this year. So I can see them playing poorly, and we're sitting here by like round 8 or 9, and they might be bottom 4, whatever it might sit at, and we're saying, guys, the team going bad, they've got no go forward. Say Brown and Sanders, if they're actually playing some pretty decent footy, they've just got nothing to work with. I reckon that's what we're going to be saying in a couple of months' time. And this is more longer term for Sandon Smith. I think he's a gun. I think he's an outstanding ball runner.
Yep.
Where the struggle might come in is that he's extremely versatile. I think 6 is probably his best position. I thought he was brilliant there for the Roosters last year. He might play 7, he might play 9, he might play bench utility. I'm not sure what the plan is. I don't think they know what the plan is. But I've got such big raps on Sandon Smith that I think at the price they've got him for is a ripper.
Okay. Yeah, it's an interesting one because like there's so many different factors you've got to put in. Like if Brown goes in on a 3-year deal on $1 million a year, I think we're probably having a very different conversation. But it's a 10-year thing that kind of weighs. And then obviously Sandon Smith on.
If they got Dill Brown on sort of slide unders at 850 or something, you go, all right, we're on here, but they didn't.
Yeah. Hammy, who is your number 2 signing?
My number 2 is Dill Brown.
Okay.
I've got him in there. I just think, obviously, he's on the big wicket. He's there for such a long time as well. This is a super important signing to, I guess, turn the club around. They've been stuck down the bottom. Certainly last year they had a shocker. So, it's important that this one goes well for them. He's going to need a bit of help, though. I think he played some great footy at the end of last year, obviously in the mix for the Golden Boot. Did that off the back of an elite forward pack. Hasn't quite got that here at the moment. That'll be the big kind of watch. How can they kind of beef up that pack to give him a better opportunity? But I just think given how much we've been talking about it, how big a splash it made when it all happened, and just the length and the amount that it's on, I think huge year for Dylan Brown, and I've got him at number 2.
Matty?
I've got David Fifita. I might be a little biased there, and at the risk of sounding like a cliche, apparently he's like doing everything training the house down, according to Cam Murray. So I think it's weirdly gone a bit under the radar, like how huge that signing is for the Rabbitohs. So I'm very excited for it.
Okay. So who do we lock in at 2 as for the Bloke podcast?
Well, there was a lot of Brown chat there, right?
Brown, in the thought of he kills it. I know that we can say that about every signing, but in the thought, okay, we'll go Brown. Okay, at number 1, Matty, it's David Fifita. I think Fifita's going to have the year of his career. I think he's going to kill it. I think that, it's been a tough time the last few years, or I get it, not even the last few years. The last year, we'll just say 12 months. I cannot wait to see Fifita at a big club like the Rabbitohs. Now, let's just fingers crossed they stay injury-free. I just think people are forgetting what this guy can do. Like, I know it's been a tough 12 months. This guy can do things that other forwards just cannot do. Like, I'm trying to think of another forward that plays like David Fifita that almost can pick a ball up and go, I'll score here.
There isn't one.
There really isn't one at the moment. We haven't seen David Fifita at a big, respectfully to the Titans, at a big club since he was at the Broncos, and we all know how good he was going at the Broncos. I am fascinated to see Fifita at a big club with high expectations, with top-tier elite players around him, forcing him to be the best version of himself. Fifita is my number 1.
Agreed.
Oh, okay. Wow. I thought I was going to be the only one.
No, that was weirdly the one I was most confident with. I think if it lines up the way that we're hearing, and you've got Cody Walker on the left edge, Dave Fifita in the second row, Latrell at centre, and then the greatest try scorer of all time on the wing. Fuck me.
Oh, mate. Like, we talk about if it can click at the Roosters. Like, if that edge clicks, Yeah, good luck.
Mate, AJ is going to be the leading try scorer of all time, and he's about to play on the end of the best edge he's ever played on. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
If they put it all together, and I mean, you talk about the left edge, how impressive that is. You go to the right edge, you got Tallis Duncan, who I thought was one of the form back rowers of last year. You'll have Jack Whiten at centre, and you'll have Campbell Graham on the wing. Like, that's how Sydney side is stacked. Meanwhile, you've got, sitting on the bench, you'll have Brandon Smith, you'll have Adam Elliott with something to prove. Like, their depth is unreal, and based on the last few years, they're going to fucking need it. But if they can just have a decent injury run, I think South Sydney are going to be so hard to beat this year. And if, you know, with all due respect to Dave Fifita, I think he will play his absolute best footy when they are running downhill and they're doing well. He's a bully.
Yeah.
I think that's what he does best.
Yeah.
And I think with Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, his confidence will be through the roof. They uploaded some content this morning, South Sydney, with a picture of Dave Fifita putting on a goosey running down the sidelines, diving into the corner, whatever. And I think the caption said, like, he's actually a back rower or something funny. But, like, the way that the guy moves is just not fair. Like, we've seen him at the Titans for years. Whenever they get a penalty 10 metres out, and I'm sitting there with my $2.80 anytime try score for Fifita over the moon because he's going to tap in and score.
Yeah.
Now he gets pill off Cody Walker.
So you reckon he'll land on the edge? He'll be on the edge
I
for
think
sure?
so.
Yeah. Have you heard anything, Matty, about where he's going to play?
Sounds like he's going to be on that left edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you imagine too, like, from a South Sydney point of view, the amount of eyes Dave Fifita's, can you believe being on an edge with Latrell Mitchell and Latrell's not getting the eyes?
Yeah.
I just imagine you looking up, you know, back when I used to play, back in my day, and you used to look up sometimes and you'd be like, oh, okay, it's on today. Imagine looking up and you see Cody Walker ripping, Trelly ready to go, best try scorer of all time, and then Dave Fifita there just ready to rumble.
Like, you have a look at what Canterbury's done over the last years with, like, Viliame Kikau and Bronson Cherry, how they change up their shapes. If you're doing that with Trell and Fifita,
Well, how do you feel? How do you feel if Cody Walker doesn't make through the year injured?
that changes.
Yeah, it changes a lot.
Changes a heap. He's the key to it.
He's the key.
It's, if you were to write right now who are the best players for South Sydney, Cody would still be in your top 5, but who's the most important? It's Cody 1, Daylight 2nd. I think if he's not on the field, they're in trouble.
Yeah. Okay, who's your number one, Timmy?
Yeah, I went a bit left field here, boys, but Dane Laurie. Down the
Holy
Raiders.
shit. Holy shit.
Can we just get a HIA for Timmy, please?
Nah, I went Dave
The New South
Fifita.
Wales Cup preview podcast.
I went Dave Fifita in a canter.
Okay.
But there will be a special mention for Dane Laurie, don't you worry. I didn't even think about it. It was Dave Fifita.
Yeah.
I think on reports, and it's unconfirmed, but I think maybe the Titans are helping pay out the contract as well, which, again, when you add value to it, that the Bunnies are paying unders of what he's worth. Like, he can be the best back row in the competition. Obviously, there's a few defensive issues at times, but when he's on and when he's fit, healthy, all that sort of thing, his attack is the best from a back row in the competition, and that sort of paves over a few potential cracks in any defensive issues. But you may have mentioned all of that. You boys summed it up well, but Wayne Bennett. As if Wayne Bennett's not going to get the best out of this bloke. And as you said, Roo, it's like it's kind of just gone to a degree under the radar how big this is. As you said, Kempy, people have forgotten how good this bloke is. Like, Dave Fifita going down to the Rabbitohs when...
Guess how old he is?
25.
25.
I saw it as well. I was like, seriously?
Outrageous.
So,
Outrageous.
Yeah, and then... As I said, you see the Bunny socials and they keep plugging him, and how fit and strong he looks and all that. And you said that they got Cody Walker, the best, probably creative ball player in the competition, certainly at 5'8". When he goes, he can play short for Feeder, he can throw the face ball to Latrell if he's playing centre, out the back to Jai Gray, all these different options. They're going to be a nightmare to defend. And I put out a social clip on the Bunnies after we spoke about them last week saying that I think they are title contenders if everyone stays fit. And I was sort of surprised at the backlash of people saying, like, they won't be top 8, they're ordinary, injuries are going to hit. I'm like, you don't have to agree with me that they're title contenders, that's fine. But, yeah, people are really potting them, like, a lot. Which,
wow. Not even...
Mate,
yeah.
I just think with their roster, and you
Got to be top 8, surely.
You spoke about the left edge there.
Yeah.
I think Fifita, he's in for a huge year.
I think once again it does all come down to Cody Walker.
Yeah, it really does.
I think that's the other thing that people are forgetting. And Matty, you'll be able to talk more, but mate, Cody was sitting on the bench in games, and after 30 minutes, Wayne had put him on and go, "Hey, I'll give you 20 minutes, go win the game of football." And he was.
Yeah.
He was taking the piss.
Yeah, it really just, as long as his body's fit. And look, the thing that's, I guess, would be frustrating for Rabbitohs fans, they're all going to be injured. But like, you could say that about any team. Any team that's going to get smashed with injuries is not going to win a premiership.